That was like way too easy. Dude, it freaking fits. Whoever said minivans aren't cool. Hello, welcome to my channel. Someone asked me to do a how-to video on how to bunny hop full suspension. It isn't a whole lot different than bunny hopping a hardtail, and I just recently did a video on how to bunny hop using a hardtail and actually comparing a BMX bike to a dirt jump bike or a bike with a longer rear end, bigger wheel stuff. This is going one step further. We even have a bigger wheel, 29 inch, and this is 29 by 2.5, so pretty big, and 150 millimeters of suspension on the rear, so that is going to absorb a bit, but you can actually take advantage of that to help you hop. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about how to preload, and I brought the MTB hopper here, and I'll add a little bit to it because there's really not a lot different than a regular bunny hop. I'll just describe that, and we'll use the ramp here and show how you apply that to jumping. Let's do it. So really, the only difference between this and a hardtail is that a hardtail, when you pull up the front end, the bike isn't going to compress at all. On this bike, it's going to compress quite a bit. So I actually want to push into that compression as I pull up the front wheel to initialize the bunny hop, and I call it preloading. You don't really need to worry about the front end because you're mostly going to be pulling up on the front end, so you don't really need to preload it much. You might a little bit going into it unintentionally, but then when you bring your weight back over the rear wheel and pull up the front end, you're going to push in with your feet and compress the shock. And then once you do that, there's like just a little baby step that you do is compressing that shock. Then everything else you do is a normal bunny hop. So basically, you're just going to do this. Pushing into the suspension with your legs. Little pump, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that a couple times, and then we'll do some slow motion and you can see the difference. Okay, so remember, when you do the bunny hop, you want straight arms, weight over the rear wheel. So I pulled up the front wheel, weight back, straight arms, getting the front wheel as high as I can or want to gauge how high I want to do the bunny hop. And then I do the second step, pushing forward, sucking my legs up, getting the back wheel off the ground. So you're going to want to watch the how to bunny hop, because I'm not going to go over all that again video before you watch this one. The only additional step that I'm doing is right as I'm pulling up the front wheel, or right before I just push in with my legs into that shock and preload the bike. Then that way, when I pull up the front wheel, the bike kind of acts like a hardtail because I've already taken that little extra off the top of the shock. And then when I go to bunny hop, that shock will release, and as long as you have your rebound and all that fancy stuff set up right, it actually can help you kind of boost some air. So let's go ahead and do one of these in slow motion. Okay, so I did a few basic ones, just kind of showing how to do it. So really pretty simple. When your pedals are level, just get that press into the shock and just get that little bit of compression out of the way, and then do everything as if you were doing a normal bunny hop. So all this means that if you're on a full suspension bike and you're going to hop something, you just have to give yourself a split second extra, you know, to start a little early compared to if you're going to do something on a rigid bike, because you want to allow yourself that extra time. And when we're talking split second, it's literally that. Like, it doesn't take a lot of time to push the shock in. So, but you just want to make sure, like if you're going to go off a jump or something, you're preloading early enough to do it, and you're not doing it too late, or things aren't going to be timed right and you're going to go funky in the air. So if you ever notice yourself going funny in the air when you're going off jumps and stuff, it's always because your timing is off. So I'll go ahead and try to do a really big one. I mean, it's a big bike, can't get super high on it, but let's see how high I can get. So I got a couple of okay ones. I don't like bunny hop this bike all that much, and it is a big bike, so would take me a lot of practice to get any higher. Plus I wear myself out doing it over and over again. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the MTB hopper out, and we'll hit that a couple times and use all these same steps that I use the bunny hop to launch in air off of a kicker. Always got to have the minivan in the background when I'm doing this, right? What did I say? Who says minivans aren't cool? So going off the jump, we're going to do all the same steps. And the idea of pulling up the front wheel first and the rear wheel second is you want the front wheel to come off the transition. You want the back wheel to ride out the transition. Then you want to level off in the air and come down. So all the same motions, pulling up the front wheel and then pulling up the back wheel coming off the launch. If you do both wheels at the same time, you're going to go like this and pick up the back wheel early and not ride out the jump and not getting the benefit of the launch. So it's very important to learn how to do front wheel to back wheel style bunny hop so you can apply it to stuff like this. So let's go ahead and hit this and see how it goes. Now let's do it in slow motion. So just remember, when you're approaching the ramp on a full suspension bike, right about here is when you want to push into the suspension, mostly the rear. You will do a little front, but mostly focus on pushing into the rear. Start shifting your weight and getting the front wheel to come off the ramp first. So by the time you're pulling up on your front wheel, your suspension should already be compressed, and then everything is just normal from there. So your front wheel comes and you spring, catch your air, suspension can even help you get a little bit more, and then you land. It's pretty simple, really. You do everything you normally would do on a hardtail. You just got to do that extra little step, compressing the shock, and then everything after that is just like a normal jump or bunny hop or whatever you're doing. So that concludes this video. Or wait, let's do a little ramp to ramp action here, and then we'll conclude the video. This should be fun. Oh, let me fix that. You might notice, if you look closely, that I actually raised that one up a little bit more. Using these, I raise it up so it's going to be a little bit more of a kicker here, and I'll try to land on that. And I don't think I'll go short, but I do have the potential to maybe overshoot it. Let's see. That was way too easy. Oh well. There you go, some ramp to ramp action. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.